So we're here representing the 11 REDAs. Who in the room belongs to a REDA? Okay, so you guys know that the world is changing. Now Mark said it was in the water. He is a brand new dad, but it's not in my water. I see it in the earth and I smell it in the air. Much that once was is lost, for none now live who remember it. When Alberta was settled, farmers needed GST. No, I mean goods and services. Towns blossomed along rail lines at the confluence of rivers and were spaced by the practical speed of wagons. Each town needed services and industries. The local economy was of the utmost importance. Competition was localized, and the next town had very little impact. Local government had little influence on macroeconomic conditions, and as Airdrie said, Main Street rides on. Town council's power on the local life was profound. Economic development was isolated, heck, it barely even existed. Nothing outside the fence line mattered. Collaborations amongst communities didn't exist. It was such a simpler time. That simpler world grew the evenly spaced network of towns across the prairies. Trade areas, limited by the speed of wagons and the Pony Express, were very small. This patchwork quilt of isolated microeconomies served the needs of the locals, the only market.
The world has changed. The growth of automobiles expanded the radius of practical travel and commerce. Canada rolled out telephone lines across the country, connecting people like never before. Commerce could be conducted farther from home and faster. Rail grew more efficient. Trains could pull more cars further and for longer. Motorized tractors filled those trains, and the globe shrunk as new connections blossomed internationally. The pace of progress fueled a revolution in infrastructure as movement and communication became the most important pieces of economic success. Moving and communicating farther and faster gave you an advantage. And then the internet changed everything again. Trade areas have grown far beyond the patchwork pattern of prairie towns. Competition is global. Businesses must compete with a world of bigger and more efficient competitors. Your town's economy is integrated with a dozen jurisdictions such that councils no longer have control over their local economy.
But there is hope. Local economies expanded to touch their neighbors. Think Toronto to Niagara Falls, and eventually Calgary to Red Deer, and Red Deer to Edmonton. Cooperation and collaboration was clearly needed. So what do we do now? Enter Alberta Regional Economic Development Alliances. Well, what the heck are those? REDAs facilitate cooperation to tackle problems and pursue opportunities that communities otherwise could not do on their own. Your REDA, Cape, Southgrow, Hub, the 8 others, provide leadership in economic development, facilitating municipalities to agree on direction and on priorities. REDAs foster an environment of collaboration for effective partnerships to go where no region has gone before. Regional economic development collaboration won't replace individual communities. Individual communities embracing regional collaboration will outcompete communities working alone. More resources, more talent, more time, and more treasure benefit everyone. For all for one and one for all.
So how do we get this done? The first step is attitude. We approach everything we do with a can-do attitude. When you must convince dozens of jurisdictions with as many sets of bylaws to cooperate and play nice together, attitude is essential. We start with how to rather than why not. The REDA connects people and ideas to each other, empowering each community with the resources and talents of all the others. We are a nexus for this sharing, and by pooling our assets, we can offer world-class training and tools to our members.
And who doesn't want to belong to something bigger? The value is inherent. We are empowered, we leverage funding, we have a louder voice, we help shape the region, we are part of something bigger. Together we yield real change, and together we are better.
To sum it all up, the REDA fills a void created by a changing world. Regional collaboration is essential for economic success, and the REDA works to pull communities together to find that success. We're stronger when we work together.
We want you to do things you can't do on your own, like studies that inform investments which grow your local economy. REDAs leverage assets and funding for you. When you belong to a REDA, the force is with you. One-horse towns no longer work. REDAs work together. We give you a seat at the table to be heard, like speaking through a megaphone to government, business, and the world. REDAs provide tools, resources, training, and connectivity to advance local economic development, your economic development.
So, what will your community do? Will you go it alone even though the world's changed, or will you come and join the Regional Collaboration Party?
So what do you want to do? Go it alone in the lonely, lonely world? Or get on the wagon and join the REDA party? We want you to want us. We want you to help us help you build your toolkit to sustain local growth.
And to end off with mixing our nerdy metaphors more, resistance is futile.